welcome to your Friday edition of Runescape Weekly. Magebit here, and I have a DxthelNOOb with me as well. Let me quickly unmute my Discord here. Hey DX, how you doing?
I could be better. I hate technology. I wish I was freaking Amish.
Me too sometimes. Most of the time, in fact. Anytime I have to do anything to a computer, and most of the time you have to do something to a computer, it's because of something that they did to themselves. Like, I hate troubleshooting, I hate problems, I hate computers because they are mostly problems. So what's going on? You want to talk about what happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, my microphone adapter piece that goes to your stand, the only one that I've got that actually fits this microphone broke.
That's the worst.
And unfortunately, the only way I can get a new one is to buy another freaking microphone exactly the same.
So,
because businesses out here are dicks.
So it was a proprietary piece, like they purposefully made it so it would only fit that microphone. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
That's the worst. I hate it when companies do stuff like that. So you have
they're dicks.
You can't go to the manufacturer and get the part. You have to get the whole microphone again.
I have to get the whole microphone again, or buy a freaking another microphone.
That is.
Oh.
That is not cool. That is not cool.
Yeah, and you know what? You know what's also not cool about it? They do have a website, and when you go to the website, there's no freaking email. The bloody site has no freaking email on it, so that screwed me up right there.
That is a good way for me to not do business with a website if they have no contact section.
Yeah, it's great fun. This is going to be different for me tonight because I'm actually holding on to the mic for dear life, so...
Yeah, because you actually have to... It's reminding me of RuneScape Weekly, like circa 2010, back in the day when I used to have my microphone. It was a little stagehand microphone, like you'd hold on stage to sing or something. It was one of those stuck in a pencil cup, and that's how I held it up in front of me. I used the wire basically as leverage to jam into the cup, and the wire is basically what kept it in place in the cup. Those are some really those are dark days.
Old school days, man. Old school days.
Yeah. I do want to give a quick shout out to Jacob Moore, who says that they've been in the ICU for the past week. I hope you are doing okay. I mean, that's the the intensive care unit, so obviously you need intensive care if you're in there. Best of luck to you. I hope everything turns out okay. That is
gonna need therapy after this edition of RuneScape Weekly.
Why? It's not gonna be that bad. It's gonna be a good episode. I mean, it's not our longest docket in the world for sure. We're gonna talk about the beach. That's
probably our smallest one this year.
It might be our second smallest one this year. We had another show. I think the shortest show this year may be about like an hour and 15 minutes or so. So let's try to beat that. But we luckily the documents that we do have here are dense. They're meaty. They are topic heavy documents. And one thing that isn't on here that I wanted to bring up as an open discussion is in regards to this whole skill rework versus mechanically reworking the skill. I'll get into more details about that later. Problem being is I was hoping for a more round table discussion, and obviously Pern can't be on the Friday show right now. Hannah's away, I believe, until today. I believe she comes back at some point today. So I don't know if I might want to hold on to that.
She got on holiday, is she?
Yeah, she went away for a week for family, I believe. I don't know the details, nor do I know if she wants me to share the details, so I won't. But, yeah, she's away, and she actually left me with an awesome piece of content that I need to release, that I will probably be releasing tomorrow. I wanted to release it yesterday, but I got caught up in life. I didn't get home until late yesterday. So I'll try to get that out on Saturday. It's a history of LGBT characters in RuneScape, and it's fascinating. It's we have a special guest for it and everything. It's really great. Have you logged into RuneScape today, Mage? I have not logged into RuneScape today. I logged in yesterday for the beach. I'm happy the beach is back, that's for sure. I will probably be doing the fishing activity, as, fishing. I love fishing. But we would definitely be getting to the beach. We're going to talk about the happy hour schedule briefly, and then we're going to go into the Q&As, the August Q&A, and the patch notes teaser for next week's update. And one little post by July RS, which I thought was kind of interesting here. So we'll go into that as well. And that's pretty much our docket. Yeah.
Sorry about that. For those people who are curious how I'm actually handling this microphone, I actually posted an image of me in the general chat just now.
Yeah.
This is how I'm literally holding onto the microphone for dear life.
You're just holding, like, you are basically the scissor arm. Like, your body, your forearm and elbow is the scissor arm in this scenario, yeah. That's gonna eventually... I hope your elbow's on the desk or something, or you're gonna get tired real quick doing that.
Yeah, my elbow's on the desk.
Alright.
I have to go, like I said, I have to get a new microphone up or look for something, for some sort of similar part. I'm gonna go to a tech place tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get lucky, because you never know what they have.
Yeah, I hope you do get lucky. I hope you're able to find something, because that sucks not having I've not had the proper microphone set up for like the past 3 years, and it's annoyed the shit out of me. And I'm finally getting to where I want to be, so I can.
Quick, let's donate.
Can relate.
Donate for more duct tape.
Duct tape does make the world go round. I mean, I literally have duct tape running along this boom arm here, just keeping all the cabling up so it's not draped over my face. Duct tape is amazing.
I hear you, man.
Anyway, we're gonna do the intro to the show here and get things on the road. Hope you enjoyed the pre-show here. We're gonna begin.
Hopefully I don't get random electric shocks through that. That would suck.
If you do,
the way I'm holding this damn microphone.
If you do, I think it would be fair to say just put it on the desk, slowly walk away, call it a night. But let's give it a go. We'll see what happens here. Bear with me as I just
wish me luck, chat.
Yeah, if DX, just don't do this show from the bath, and you should be okay. Is my recommendation. So if we can just lay that ground rule, I think you'll come out of this unscathed. But I can't 100% promise anything. Anyway, let me just load the music up here into our music player and quickly stall as much time as possible because I'm trying to get Streamlabs open and it's taking forever. Okay, Streamlabs is finally open. There we go. And where is my... Okay, and let's do this in 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for 8/4/2017. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 16 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is DxthelNOOb, and on today's show, the beach returns, happy hour schedule, TLDW for the August Dev Q&A, patch notes teaser, and combat and skilling undergone different evolutions. Thank you for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to your Friday edition of RuneScape Weekly. Magebit here. Welcome. We have DxthelNOOb as well. Hi DX, how you doing?
Holding it together. Literally holding it together.
Very nice. I guess DX has an excuse to drop the mic.
My hand already.
Nice set. Yeah, that is going to be frustrating. DX's arm broke for those... Not arm physically broke, but his scissor arm for his mic stand broke. So he's doing a little bit of he's being a human
broke as well.
Aw. So DX is having a rough day. We're gonna try and offset that with some delicious news from the Jagex Studios here for you. We have a bunch of PSAs and we'll get to that shortly. DX, what have you been up to in RuneScape? Anything at all?
I've been doing the beach. Plus, I've been doing a couple of clue scrolls here and there. I actually did want this week to actually start filming some more of the boss fights and stuff like that, and also start doing some of the filming of like clue scrolls, and also doing some Shattered Worlds. And then the clip broke.
Oh, that's the worst.
And unfortunately, I've got another microphone. It's an XLR, which they're pretty damn good models.
Yes.
But it's so old now. It's about... Wow, it's 2017 now. I've had that one since about 2010. Not 2010, 2000 actually, about that long.
That's crazy.
So as you would expect, cables don't exactly plug into it the way that they should, and it becomes loose and it becomes staticky and all that sort of crap.
Yeah, that's the problem with an analog connection. Is like they provide a much richer, sound quality a lot of the time, but they get little creeps of artifacts in there with like exactly. You get little static and blips and bloops every now and again as the machine gets older and older. It tends to have more and more of those types of problems, and that's just that is the life of audio equipment. Sadly, it's time to go back to our roots. It's time for RuneFest 2017.
Yep, that's the announcement. Actually, that's the announcement right there. That's breaking news right there.
Oh yeah, so that is that the theme then? Back to our roots.
Yep, it is. It's just announced by Mod Balance.
We were joking about that in like the pre-show, like the theme of RuneFest. I said abandonment. You said unfinished projects. Like, I thought that was kind of funny.
I said everything was half done. Okay,
all right, can we just deconstruct that sentence before we even get into anything at all in the show? Like, we're gonna open this up with our first open discussion of the day, I think. What does that even mean, back to our roots? RuneScape is an extremely old game, right? Back to which
I know
roots?
What it means. I know what it means. It means they're gonna get rid of the EOC.
What if you like taped it to your face?
Back to their roots.
Back to our roots. So what do you think it means exactly, though? Do you think it means back to the roots of similar Runefests, or back to our roots of like how RuneScape used to be? Like, what are they trying to say by this?
It's a deep question. I'm really stunned. That's an interesting. Back to our roots.
Yeah. So
maybe there's an anagram out of it. We can throw conspiracy theories. This got like an anagram maker or something. Maybe we can conspiracy theory.
There definitely is an RCOCK. Yeah, there's definitely a hidden message in here. We'll work on that. But for real, like, back to our roots sounds lovely. And let me just preface that with Jagex is beginning in my heart to become really great at saying things and not necessarily doing them. So I am curious to see what action, comes behind this Runefest. Obviously, this is the Runefest, in my opinion, to end all Runefests, because the last Runefest we had could have basically not happened. Everything that happened to that RuneFest, except unless you were there, it was probably an amazing time. But from the development aspect, from the information that you pull out of the keynotes that exist at conventions that are supposed to build the roadmap and build the hype for the next entire year, that was basically all thrown in the trash, as we all know. Now, of course, there's a recovery time that's going to be needed to get everyone, kind of back on track. That needs to be kind of understood. Like, obviously, if you're going to cancel half of your stuff, they're not going to just come out the gate immediately with another set of things to do. It seems like they've been mostly trying to fill things in with, like tab projects and small things just to keep people satiated. It's not working. But that aside, the whole back to our roots idea, I think, is a really good move on their behalf, because you have a lot of people right now in the veteran community specifically that are really throwing their hands up, just at the development queue, if you will. And this is, I think, a way to maybe reassure people with just graphics. I mean, that's all this is at the moment, but saying back to our roots is probably going to appeal to a lot of traditionalist gamers, and I think a lot of the veteran player base are going to be more of your traditionalists, just because I think they tend to skew older. So, I mean, again, I'm just speculating, and this is based off my own life experience, my own MMO experience, but it is, in my opinion, a good thing when they pick the phrase "back to our roots." I have to say that is somewhat promising to me. But DX, would you like to take some time and talk about it, or what are your thoughts?
I like Sarah's thoughts here. Back to our roots. Player-owned farms confirmed.
Oh. I just I had like a mini orgasm in my chest right there when you said that. That is amazing. I would love if back to our
doctor about that.
If back to our roots.
I just actually went to a website and did some sort of anagram generator, and I've just posted the results in Discord.
Oh, I gotta see this. Hang on. So you put back to our roots into the machine,
and
it spit out a bunch of possible anagrams for this word. There's some great ones.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's confirmed.
Tots.
It's definitely confirmed, though. If Buckaroo is in there, like, something's going on. Or it could be Taboo Rock Tour. Taboo's Rock Tour. That's what so the next Runefest is actually going to be a Taboo Rock Tour. We've done it. We've broken the code. You're welcome.
Taboo Rock Tours, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, we've cracked the code for you, Jagex.
Thank you, DX. I'm glad you were able to basically Da Vinci Code that in 3 seconds flat. That was impressive. What part of Stardew Valley do you want in RuneScape farming update? Most of it? Alright, let me break it down for you. Simulation is my personal favorite type of gameplay. I enjoy the management aspect of it. I enjoy the need that it requires. Like, there's a neediness to a simulation game there. They're whiny. They require your attention. And I like that in the game. I would say it makes me feel more engaged in the game if I feel like my presence is needed and desired there. I don't know, you can dig into some deep psychological shit there, I'm sure. But for the point of the fact is, Stardew Valley tickles a lot of those senses because you're taking care of crops that can die. You're fostering relationships with the town people. You're trading goods for money, and depending on how you arrange your farm, how you build your farm, what skills you choose is going to kind of dictate what you produce. And different people are going to want to produce different things, but that's okay because you can get rich a million different ways through producing things. And that's just not true in RuneScape anymore. It used to be, but it's not true anymore. And games that it is still true in are the games that I'm currently gravitating towards, like BDO. Shut up, Chris. Answer. Stop trying to make it BDO. I'm not trying to make it BDO. I'm trying to make it Harvest Moon. Can't you see here? Like, there are plenty of problems.
What about Stellar Dawn?
Stellar Dawn. Listen, there are plenty of problems with BDO, like, that I'm not going to talk about because this isn't a BDO show. But RuneScape needs to think about their skillers in a fashion to a sandbox MMO. I'm not saying that RuneScape is a sandbox MMO, or that it should be a sandbox MMO, but it should borrow some of those elements to try and entice some of those people, because those are, in of themselves, huge communities. And RuneScape has always been, in my opinion, a place where you could do whatever the hell you want. But, on the flip side, it does not qualify as a sandbox MMO, because you cannot modify the world, really, as much as I would like to see, or as much as it does to say to qualify for it to be a sandbox MMO. When guilds cannot roam through towns and begin to own them or do stuff like that, that is really what makes a true sandbox MMO. Forget all of that. Like, we gotta start small with the RuneTech engine. And I think farming is a perfect place to start. You could start with instanced areas, of Falador and places like that, where you could have farms, lay your own different farms that you want, or stick with the one instance of the player-owned housing and build upon that. I think that's also a viable idea. Like, I think these are all viable ideas to make skilling fun, engaging, and profitable, if, and only if, you're into that sort of stuff. But there are plenty of people that are, because skilling used to be huge. Like, I remember walking through the streets and seeing, like, a level 99 crafter and being like, oh, holy crap, that person's level 99. I wonder if they can make me something. And then they'll never talk to you because they're too elite for you. But point being, like, 99s used to mean something, and the game is too old for a 99 to really mean more than a, high five. Like, it used to be, like, the end-all, be-all. You had a 99, and you were frickin', you were literally on top of the world for that skill. Anyone who needed those services had to basically go through you or a select few people. And that's obviously been lost through time, and that's okay. That's a natural progression of the economy in the game as more people, more skilled workers, develop their skills and whatnot. That's just typical, normal evolution of a culture. What we need to do, though, is not completely let skilling drop off the radar. We can't forget what made this game fun in the first place. Combat was, always fun. It's hard to make combat not fun. But it is truly a challenge to make skilling fun. And it seems like Jagex is shying away from the challenge. To a degree. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Anyway.
Talk about the challenge, man. Back to our roots. Jeez.
Yeah. So, I mean, to re-rail here, back to our roots could mean a couple different things. I love the wild speculation being thrust upon by chat, being like, roots, it's a farming update. That would be amazing. It's not, though.
That would be the
that would be too good
option, wouldn't it? Come on.
I mean, if you're going for puns,
if it was farming, if the theme there, like Back to Our Roots, was basically them pruning their way through the bloody Batter Sea evolution, and it just happened to be farming, I mean, wouldn't that be the most obvious freaking troll ever?
The only thing I could think of, like, if it was truly a major farming update, I feel like the logo would reflect it more. Like, this invitational card really just looks like your typical... It almost looks like, if you look at the color and the styling of it, it reminds me more of the 2013 RuneScape. Or just like the blue theme that they've kind of developed over the past few years. This is a newer theme of RuneScape, but it's not using the arc theme, and it's not using any of the Menaphos themes, any of the modern themes, it seems like they're almost trying to distance themselves from recent projects and maybe try to convince people that they are done with extravagance and hype, and I don't know, going back to their roots. That's the person. Which roots? The roots where you didn't communicate with us for literally years and just gave us what you felt like. The back to the roots where you took away free trade. Back to our which roots are we talking about here? That's what makes me a little nervous. Of course, I don't think that they're going to make any crazy decisions and remove free trade or anything. When I make those points, all I'm trying to basically say here is Jagex kind of has forked themselves many times, no pun intended, and there are many different routes that you could start at, so this is very intriguing, very intriguing. Mage is a scrub, I won't deny that.
Oh man, that's a bit heavy, isn't it, Sarah?
Anyway, so back to our roots. I'm gonna save this image and maybe use it at a later time. It's a pretty good image. I wonder...
I do actually have the image without any text on it, so if you want to use that later on for, say, a title or something, maybe give it to Hampshire or something. But I do have the non-worded image on my computer now.
Removal of EOC and back to old school roots. If that's that's definitely what it is, Sarah. You're right.
I'll tell you what, because I know like I say, I always say it, but when EOC came out, that screwed up 3/4 of my clan that I was in. 3/4 of my clan just up and just left.
Yeah.
And
really?
by the time Jagex realized it, and they launched old school RuneScape, they were already gone. Yeah, and they never came back.
Yeah, they found new games. That's what happens. That's why Jagex has to react quick in these types of scenarios, not because I should say yes, because players are fickle, and it doesn't take a lot to lose your average player for them to go switch to another game. If they're not enjoying your game anymore, most people are going to go find a different game, and they're going to forget about RuneScape. So that is why they need to correct these types of things fairly quickly so they don't lose mass amounts of players. And I know that's easy to say, sitting in front of a microphone, not running a gaming company. Yeah, you're going to do those PSAs very shortly here. But, it's... I don't know. It's easy to say in front of a microphone, right, to say these types of things. But in order to actually do them, it obviously requires a little more skill. But
speaking of gaming, didn't you say on the last show that you're going to be checking out Unity or something soon?
Yeah, I'm actually learning Unity right now. I'm on chapter 4 of the Unity Certified Developers courseware right now. So I'm learning how to use the program, learning how to use the software, how to implement assets and all that fun stuff. And I'm gonna try. I've started a project called Project Skill Check, which I will reveal probably never, because it will probably never see the light of day. But
it's probably going to call it Magescape, folks. So
I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't. It doesn't exist yet. It's just an idea on paper, and the moment while I'm learning how to use the.
It's a thought bubble like Magebit is.
I've been wanting to make a video game for I don't know, my entire life, and I made one in high school for a Visual Basic class.
Nice.
It was it took me the entire year. It was like 30,000 lines of code in total, roughly. I printed it out like an asshole. It was like 200 pages on the laser printer. They were not happy about that, but they were like, "Print your code, gotta print your code." So I printed the code. They weren't happy.
They ran out of ink.
Yeah, they were not happy about that. But I never got to make a real game. And I
remember the first computer project I did was build a website up from scratch.
Yeah, that's a fun one. What's that desert game you're playing? Black Desert Online? It was on sale for the Steam Summer Sale fairly recently. I don't know if that's still a thing, but I got it for like $6 or something stupid, under $10. I totally haven't spent a bajillion times more than that on microtransactions since then. But the game's good. Yeah, it's a fun game. If you like skilling, if you like combat, if you like combat that isn't MMO combat, like fighting style combat, it's a good game. You need a pretty beefy CPU if you want it to look nice, though. GPU, rather. Anyway, DX, would you like to get into the PSAs?
Okay, since we spent about 20 minutes just rambling on, all right, let's get on with it.
We had some breaking news. It happens.
Yeah, we opened it with breaking news. That's very rare. We don't usually get the.
Generally, the show ends right before the breaking news comes out, and we have to just throw our hands up and get angry about it.
All right, the minigame Spotlight is currently on Castle Wars. The Circus is currently located outside Gertrude's house in Varric. Congratulations to Saturn on the first Telos kill at 3,800%. And the free Solomon General Store item for August is the beachwear outfit. I just remember, you remember last week I said, the chances are Saturn's going to get the 4,000 before the end of the month.
Looks like
he got 3,800 on the 2nd of August.
Wow.
There's still, there's 26 or 27 days to go.
And there's 200% left. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow.
All right, back to you, Mage.
Back to me. All right. Beach. The beach. It's here. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It's shiny. It's the beach. It's the same every year, only they take something away from us to make it slightly less sweet. So let's see here. Quoting directly from the RuneScape website, the beach party kicks off in summer style this week, and Solomon's got some regal new stock in store. From everyone's favorite summer get-together in full swing in the Lumbridge Crater right now. Head over to hang out with the rest of the community and enjoy all your favorite summer skilling activities, the coconut shy, barbecues, rock pool fishing, muscle beach weightlifting, and much more. Be sure to pick up the treasure map from Reyna, allowing you to collect a prize a day. Every 45 minutes, you could pitch in with your fellow beachgoers to encourage the grumpy crustacean Claudia to calm down. She's been tweaked too, so it's more viable to take her out on quieter worlds.
Which is a load of crap, because she's got 1 million HP, and it is not possible to take her out on quieter worlds.
I wonder why they...
At best, you can get 600 or 700,000 hit points, not 1 million.
It's good to know. I wonder why they chose that number specifically. That's still a lot of hit points. Let's see here. Other changes include new Terrorbird racing course and a Menaphos themed construction sandcastle. And of course, there's a range of new cosmetic rewards to collect, including the Claudia balloon, the sandcastle pet, octopus pet, gleefully colorful parasols, pyramid hat, palm tree hammock rest animation, and the bubble blower.
I definitely want that palm tree hammock rest animation.
Are these all...
I got two pyramid hat tokens yesterday, back to back, by picking coconuts.
I haven't gotten any of them yet, but hopefully I will. There's also a slow-mo run walk animation available for completing 10 laps of the Terrorbird course. Note that you'll need to unlock the previous year's Terrorbird racing reward to get this, which requires you to do an additional 10 laps first. Collecting everything, including from the previous years, you'll unlock an all-new title. The sun's out and the water's fine, so get in game now and head to the Lumbridge Crater and see what Reyna has on offer. So the beach is here. It's ready for your AFK enjoyment. It's peaceful. It's beautiful. The sounds are nice. Magebit is live.
The beach ball rolling is still there, which I can't believe.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they haven't removed any events, really. I'm sad that they didn't make Claudia easier, even though they said they made her easier for people on quieter worlds. It seems like a little bit of an oversight, but whatever. I'll get over it. I'll get over it. I never was a huge fan of killing Claudia in the first place. I would basically wait until she was, down to about a quarter health, and then I'd tag her, and then wait till it finished. But I just keep skilling for most of it. It's just on the world. I wonder
what Disney thinks. I wonder what Disney thinks that they're using Sebastian from The Little Mermaid as Claudia.
Oh, after the years of steroid use, you can't even recognize them anymore. Anyway, we have the happy hour scheduled for the beach if you're interested in getting those sweet, sweet rewards without letting your heat meter fill up. If you are on the English worlds, it's worlds 82, 83, 84, 85, and 88. And first off, there's one at 1 to 2 a.m. game time, 9 to 10 a.m. game time, 2 to 3 p.m. game time, and 9 to 10 p.m. game time. If you are on the Portuguese worlds, 47 to 94, they have one at 4:30 to 5:30 and 9 to 10 p.m. French worlds, 118 and 55, have one at 4:30 to 5:30 and 9 to 10. German worlds 102 and 122 are 4:30 to 5:30 and 9 to 10. So there you go.
Which means the happy hour should be coming up in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If I've got it right, because it's 1:44 now in-game time.
I'm going to trust you on that one.
Don't quote me on it, please, because I'm not in the game right now.
Neither am I. Let's see here. So we have the August month ahead Q&A and unfinished business update live stream notes here from Sudi. Starting with some information in regards to Ninja Dungeoneering updates, which are going to take place on the 7th of August, according to this. Shawnee's dynamic dungeon map will go live. Combat won't close the map anymore, and dynamically updates as doors are open, so you can actually have the map open. That is actually something that dungeoneering has needed for like 10 years, so that's good. That's pretty good. Large dungeons allowed for duos. From a technical standpoint, allowing a solo player to create larges, don't know how much load it would put on the servers, so duos for now, maybe in the future. So I guess what they're really looking at here isn't necessarily can the player complete it, or is it just a waste of time to offer this. It's more of, can we have all these solo players spawning large dungeons? That's interesting, and a resource issue on there, and possibly that they have to look at. Not necessarily a game limitation. Go to sleep, DX. That's Mage. Yeah, Mage in the game. Mage will be in the game like once a day for an hour to do the beach or so. Actually, I think the beach took longer than an hour when I was on yesterday.
If you're on the hotspots, if you're on the hotspots, you could probably go for an hour, maybe half an hour, maybe.
Yeah. I guess then there's the ice cream and all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The achievement system was originally planned for July, of course, as we all know, but it was ready for July, but it wasn't feeling compelling enough to release with the achievements that they had in place, so they've added a bunch more. They've moved away from the Kill X grindy achievements, and 50% of those Kill X achievements will be removed, so 100 to 150 max for each boss, enough to get the final boss title at least, but nothing too extravagant beyond that. They're not trying to turn this into, like, just grind monsters to unlock achievements, which... kudos to them for that, because that is not clever game design. Oh my god, are we going to have dungeon upgrades? We are going to have dungeon upgrades in 2017, apparently. This year is just the antithesis of everything I enjoy. High-level Slayer, dungeoneering, like, it's just everything I don't like about RuneScape. They are just nailing it.
Wouldn't it be funny if, say, next year or the year after that, they focus on fishing, knowing that you already got 120?
You know what? If they all right, we're gonna get to this. But like, if they do go ahead and can the mining and smithing rework and replace it with a high level mechanic rework, that could happen to fishing too, and I would actually be okay with that. And I'll talk about that in a completely other segment. I'm gonna give you a raw pitch. A nice raw pitch today that is completely just off the top of my head. Haven't written anything down. After I do that pitch, I'm going to go back, listen to my own pitch, and then I'm going to write it down on paper, and then I'm going to submit it to Reddit and see what happens, and then we'll take the responses I get from it and talk about it next week. But I think there might be some interesting value in there, but I'll hold on to that to the end of the show. All right, so first off, we got they updated the interface. Congratulations, it's now more finished than it was before. Good. That is how progress happens. The gaps are there for translated lines. They're just talking about pictures here. It's still in pretty much beta, but, we'll eventually see a completed system, I would assume. Examine will now have an achievement tab, so you'll be able to see someone else's achievements. You can display your 4 favorite achievements to show off to people. That's actually kind of cool. I like that. So I could just be like, I could show all my 120s right there. I couldn't even fit them all in 4 achievements, so that's pretty cool. Privacy mode won't let achievements be viewable, so if you want to be that person, you can be. Compact mode change toggled between list view and normal views now. The framework made new content can have achievements attached to them very easily, so there's existing framework in place to make it easier for future development. It says, sorry for the achievement tab going out how it did. Hopefully players will like it now that time has been spent on the new one. So basically apologizing for the half-assed product they put in the game the first time. Fair enough. So something that's also coming out that we'll talk about, I think, is Crystal Chinchompas, which is scheduled to come out on the 7th as well. I'm wondering if I should bother reading the section if we have a whole nother section on teasers, which is basically just Skill Champa updates. So I guess we'll read it, and I'll try not to duplicate my information. So again, being released on the 7th of August, which is next week, was originally a Timbo Tap project. One day Timbo thought to himself, why do people not use skilling chins? And he made a quality of life fix. So Crystal Skill Champas are going to be north of the Tyrus camp, 9,700 to catch. They increase the efficiency of divination, fishing, woodcutting, and mining, basically gathering skills. For divination, it's a plus 22.5% chance to get enriched memories, and that stacks with all the other, things that can also increase memory chance. And fishing, you're going to get a plus 5% benefit over catching fish. It's pretty good. I'm
interested to see how it's gonna interact with divination, man. I'm curious. Like, do we throw a Chinchompa at a
Yeah,
wisp or something.
probably.
And all of a sudden it just blows up or something.
My assumption is Jagex did nothing to add any animations to per skill, and it's probably just throwing explosive chins at whatever your targeted node is. So yeah, if you're you want to mix it up, it's nice. If it's too quiet at the poison waste, divination pools, and you really just want.
I think that's the incandescent, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the incandescence. Yep. If it's too quiet for you down there, you could just load up with some crystal chinchompas and really add some nice ambient noise for everyone there. Anyway,
I imagine if it makes the same sound as the Angry Birds do when you pull back an aim.
I think I would never use the RuneScape sound effects again if that was the case.
Oh, that'd be freaking hilarious! I gotta do that. Like when the skill choppers come out, I'll make sure I'm over at the incandescent spot, and I'll just say like, is your is your sound effects really crappy? Well, now you can use these crystal chinchompas, and then all of a sudden you throw it, it's like, whee! Like Angry Birds do.
Oh God!
I put a big thumbs up at the end or something.
I think they should just take you on as their new creative designer. I honestly do. Just replace Osborne. Osborne's out. DX is in. I think you'd be able to bring RuneScape to the places they need to go. 800 to 900K an hour catching those crystal chinchompas. By the way, that's pretty good. That is pretty good for hunting, at least. I mean, hunting. I think are turtles better? Are Ark Island turtles better than that? They might be, but that's still pretty good for not having to get to the Ark. Urns will work with skill chompas. They cannot be crystallized because they're already crystal. Duh. Work like crystal tools. And all skill chompas allow up to 4 to be caught in one trap depending on your agility level. So good use of agility level there. 99 agility is for guaranteed double catches. Gives XP for all 1 to 4. Doesn't apply to Protean traps or crystallized. Applies to electrified traps with very good with them to the point where Timbo was told to nerf them, but he didn't because he's a rebel. Look how that's in there.
Timbo.
But he didn't. All skill chombos will work from inventory with the item XP given on failing or success. Since chinchombas work from inventory, you can use your augmented tools with them. So there you go. That's chinchombas.
It makes me wonder why I never used the skill chompers.
Because they're expensive.
Well, apart from that, I'm level 99 plus in every level, so it makes me curious to see how it goes. So I might just do that.
I spent about 30 million on chinchompas when I was doing 120 fishing. I think I got Crimson or something, fairly low level ones that weren't too expensive.
So you got really lazy and just bought them instead of actually catching them.
Oh, absolutely. If you're going to catch them yourselves, you're completely. I'll try that again. You're completely negating any sort of bonus you'd be receiving from them. If you're not selling them, but instead using them, you could have just been doing whatever skill you were going to use them on the entire time and gotten more XP. So it doesn't make sense to catch them, use them, buy them, unless you are purely out to save money. Like if you want to never spend your own money, like that's a great from scratch idea, but it's super inefficient. So you have to basically decide on what do you want to be efficient with, time or money. You can be super money efficient by doing all your own stuff, which is what I did for a lot of stuff. But you'll end up playing the game for 16 years and having, and not being comp. Anyway.
Well, you know me, I'm so cheap I won't tip a canoe.
There you go. And that's fine. I appreciate that gameplay style. I often follow it myself. Let's see here. Miscellaneous. For timed high scores later this month, Dungeoneering, no guide mode, 13%, 5-5 is going to be the requirements.
Oh, man. 5-5. Gee, how are you going to get 5 people without leeching?
I know. Skilling outfits in the 3rd week of August, so they have new skilling outfits planned. The next elite skilling outfit is confirmed to be Divination. Right at you. Good. Whoever called that, by the way, that the next, I'd finish 120 Divination, and then the next skill outfit would be Divination, or elite skill outfit would be Divination. Congratulations, I probably owe you a prize, because there you go. You were right, 120 Divination. A few months later, here we go. There's your elite skilling outfit for Divination. Perfect.
Yeah, Mage's just going to buy you a bond or something.
Don't put words in my mouth, please. I haven't played in 2 months. I'm not rich anymore. Working on new polling system. Like the old school RuneScape polling system, allow us to do whole surveys of polls at once to speed up the process, and it would be extremely useful for the combat polls. ETA.
Now, isn't this what I've been telling them for freaking ages? Do it like the old school RuneScape system, and they're finally doing it. So you're welcome.
I'm interested in this. I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Old school RuneScape was a game that was born of preservation. You know, it was a game that was created supposedly to honor a style of gameplay. Thusly, making changes to it was deemed, you know, to be a very heavy-handed thing to do. With RuneScape 3, that is not the case. We expect the game to change almost weekly. So if they do this correctly, fine. I'm just a little nervous to see how this is implemented and if this is actually going to slow down development process or possibly cause more schisms in the community where people can't agree over things. I mean, it's hard to see the RS3 community come together on anything with like more than a 60-40 split. Like, I don't know if we would get any game updates anymore beyond Slayer. Like, seriously, I don't know if we'd get any updates beyond bosses and Slayer if 75% was required for any update to pass in this game, because it seems like the only thing people can freaking agree on is that they want more combat updates. The things that require tough decisions are the things that you can't leave to a vote sometimes. Go ahead.
No, I just for the record, I did post just a moment ago the recent polling from Old School RuneScape, which was a quality of life. Says this is pretty much, I'm assuming, how they would do it.
Yeah, but my main point doesn't change. They require 75% to pass, and I don't know if the RuneScape 3 community has the ability to agree 75% of the time. Like, 75% most of the... Like, to get updates through... I feel like we would be constantly repolling things over and over again, getting marginal results, being, like, right on the line of, like, oh, that was 72% that time. Oh, that was 73% that time. Oh, it was 71% that time. Like, the RuneScape 3 community worries me a little bit because they are very split on certain things that need to happen in the game for the game to remain healthy, but people don't want them just because they don't... It doesn't fit their playstyle, therefore, you know, I don't want it in my game. You know,
even right now in the RuneScape 3 polling, it's there's only 2 of them, but the polling numbers are 63% and 64% respectively. That's a big total. It's a big swing, but I would assume that they would have to lower that threshold for RuneScape 3. I would imagine. Maybe to 65%, maybe?
66% would be a good place. Just, you know, 2/3 would be fine with me if it was more at like 2/3.
That's actually a good point. 66% is a good target. Actually, you should suggest that. I hope you're listening, Jagex. 66% should be a threshold.
I think 66% would be a much more reasonable threshold for a game that's not trying to preserve history. A game that's trying to change history here. We're trying to make history. God damn it. So, yeah, I would appreciate it if they did not lock out all future updates, because the community will never be able to come to a consensus that large every time there's a controversial update. It'll just never make it. It'll be stalled for months. I'm not going to get political, but it reminds me of a very political system. Like, this is a bureaucracy to the max. Bureaucracy is not efficient at getting new things to happen. So I don't understand why we want to use a bureaucratic system to try and foster change in an ever-changing game when bureaucracies are the antithesis of systems for change. They are literally things that create pundits. They create this, they create cycles. I don't know. I'm losing myself here. It frustrates me to see them going with a polling system when they're basically hiring all of their players as consultant game designers, and that's not a good idea. Most people are not creative. Anyway, let me...
Except for you and I, we're both creative.
Well, I'm saying, most people don't have that, like, that's not... The game design is not their thing. Most people... I would say everyone has a hobby, right? But not everyone's hobby is creative. Not everyone's hobby... Just because you play games does not make you a game designer. Just because you play games hardcore doesn't make you a game designer. What makes you a game designer is designing games. If you have not put together a technical design document or a game design document before in your life, then you are not even remotely... You should not remotely be involved in the decision-making process for a game. That's just how I feel. Like, I would rather the experts handle these types of things, because that's what they're being paid to do. That's what their degrees say that they're capable of doing. Not Reddit. Reddit is not an institution. It is not, it is not a place of learning. It is a place of memeage. Anyway.
Memeage, I like that.
So that's what concerns me about the polling system. I'm not saying that it's not a good idea. Like, maybe it is a good idea. I can't say without it happening. I think we should let it happen. You know, that's generally my take on anything, is I'm a watcher. I will let it happen. Let it happen. Go ahead. And I will sit back and I will tell you its impact on the world. That is what I do. So that's all we can do is yeah, sure, you're going to put a polling system and we can't stop you. You tried it, like, what, twice before, and maybe 3 times if you consider different evolutions. Rune Labs, Power to the Players, has been out in many different forms. Like, we've tried this before, but let's go back to our roots. The ones that shriveled up and died. You know, the ones we dug up because they were failing. Let's plant those again. Sometimes people say that, repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. I don't know if I agree with that, but I do agree that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results makes you a bad scientist. So, that's all I can say. Anyway, where are we? We got some patch note teasers, right? We're going to jump into some patch note teasers here real quick. And then I'm gonna...
We're not there. We're not there yet. We're still in the top 10 ninja fixes.
Are we? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we haven't got past there yet.
I got, like,
actually,
we
haven't even got past the God Wars dungeon models from the same area.
That's true. I got way off on a tangent there. So skilling, we did skilling outfits. Yeah, that's where we lost. That's where you lost me at the new polling system. Sorry about that. All right, so God Wars dungeon models also receiving some changes. They want to release them in August, taken from expansion number 2, which hasn't been determined. I'm sorry, which hasn't been terminated. Really?
Which has since been terminated.
Oh, has since been terminated. I was wishful thinking. Sorry. Feedback
You woke up too early, mate.
I always... too early, too late, not on time, too much sleep, not enough, something. Taken from... Alright. Feedback needed. Don't want a repeat of DK's optimized models, reduced poly count, new animations. So they should run better on older systems and on, wink wink, mobile devices, of course. It looks like they cut out a lot of polygons from this, and they're going with a much more texture-based system. So they're trying to make depth look like it's depth, when in fact it is merely textures. So these models are
almost like they're getting remastered.
Well, they are, and at the same time they're actually being downgraded. The previous models actually were more detailed than this, but may have not been as visually pleasing. These are more than likely optimized for NXT and mobile, if I had to guess. And they're much more stylized, that's all. So lower poly count, but higher, I think higher definition textures is what they're going with. I can't 100% say. I'm not a graphics designer. I'm literally just looking at graphics, making observations from experience. Thoughts on mobile? Super excited. I can't wait for mobile. I mean, there's plenty of situations in which I would play RuneScape not at home, or... Yeah, I mean, I've basically said, finally I have a reason to pretty much glue my phone to the dashboard in my car so I can be fishing while driving. It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, look, I got a level up. Oh, shit, there's a pole.
Shawnee successfully opened 2 water bottles. The score is now 2-1.
Yeah, I saw the look on his face when he actually opened one. Like, he opened it and literally just, posed for the camera. That was bloody hilarious.
I just took a sip of water in honor of Shawnee. Let's see here. 3 high-level non-copy and paste Slayer mobs. Update is ETA next few months. Not the Abyssal mobs from the Game Jam, by the way. Completely different than those. So, non-copy paste Slayer mobs coming soon. They just didn't want to release them, I believe, all at once, so it wouldn't feel like they were going on the Slayer train again, because that seems to be happening constantly. Is like, if an update isn't a Slayer update, is this RuneScape? I don't know anymore. Abyssal mobs from Game Jam, though, still haven't been released. They may not be released. We don't know. We want to fill 99 to 120 Slayer, but we don't want every month to feel like a Slayer update. Smart. Top result of the next skill is do something like Dungeoneering did. We know we aren't going to do a new skill until a couple of reworks. So, for the next skill, they want to do something like... I quit. I quit right here. Come on! I hate Dungeoneering. It's the one skill in this game that I, like, hate the most. Like, how is this happening to me? How is everything about 2017 just literally... I hate it. I hate all of it. Like, the only thing that is good that has happened this year is the Gothixian, like, Butterfly Memorial and, like, the announcement of RuneScape Mobile. Like, every other update has just been, like, against skillers. Why? And for anyone who thinks Dungeoneering is a skill, just get out. Just get out right now. UB, I don't know what that even means. We have the top 10 ninja fixes here. Obviously, and this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, the bank rework made it up on top. Maybe slightly surprising. Second place is Aura Bag. I would love an Aura Bag, so, you know, it's fine with me.
Yeah, me too, man, because, you know, Auras from the loyalty shop, man, that takes so much space in your bank.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have all those Aura slot spaces returned to me. Daily escape reduction's also a big one that I think we're all going to be happy about. Improved currency pouch is almost finished, will be released soon. No clan broadcasts, not started, much larger task than it seems, requires engine work. You could have asked me that. You could have come to me, any mod, any Jmod could have PM'd me and said, hey, Magebit, is the clan broadcast system going to require engine work, or can I do this in my tap time? And I would have told them, hey, that requires engine work. You can't do that in your spare time. Pick a different How did they not know that? If I knew that, as someone who's never even been employed there, why is that news to anyone? That makes me a little angry, sorry. Practice mode, select specific phases to practice. They'll be investigating, but that's also a huge task, apparently. Quick prayers are released. I think they need to be already remastered, but whatever.
When I was looking at practice mode, they were specifically targeting Araxor specific phases, or maybe Telos.
Yeah, and that's apparently the hard part is starting the boss mid-phase or something? I don't know. But yeah, that would be useful for people trying to learn Telos, trying to learn Araxor. A question from the chat: how do you think mobile will affect the game as a whole? Do you think we could see 200,000 online count like in 2006?
We will never see 200,000 back online because 140 of those were bots when that was around.
Well said. Yeah, I was going to be a little more snarky. But yeah, pretty much is the only way for us to ever see those numbers again would basically be for someone to develop a mobile botting system that was undetected. Then we would see those numbers again. But I think we could easily see maybe, you know, an average of like 80 to 100,000 people online with mobile out. The thing about that is I think you're going to see, and I don't, you know, it's probably the case anyway, is those mobile users are not probably going to really be interacting with people very much. So if you're hoping for a more social experience from a boost in players, you may or may not receive that due to the difficulty of typing on a mobile device.
I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to be able to pull RuneScape 3 off on a mobile device.
A lot of shortcuts, I would assume. A lot of like, you know, thumb combinations. They do say that like there's no replacement for like desktop combat in RuneScape 3. Like you can do it on the tablet / phone, but like you're not gonna be efficient. So you know, I mean, if basically what I got out of that is like AFK Slayer equals yes, high level bossing equals no. But I could, you know, someone will prove me wrong, if not many people. Quest Cape XP is what I'm getting out of QC XP. What? Quest Cape XP? Investigated a lot larger than it seems. I don't know what that means. Quick Chat XP. Sorry, I think that's what that means. My brain just, like, reprogrammed itself. Storm of Armadyl, not started. No further info. Broadcast interaction, such as being able to message someone from broadcast. It requires engine work, resources, give it higher priority projects. Anytime you want to mess with the chat system, it's going to require engine work, and they're basically going to say no for any time soon. Alright, so then they have this update from 4 days ago, which is just a 1 to 10 on those same updates we just read, and they probably are like exactly the same, I would assume. They're slightly different. Number 1, bank rework. Number 2, mining and smithing, which Let's not talk about that. Number 3 is a Treasure Trail rework. Number 4, your daily reductions. Number 5, Invention Batch 2. Number 6 is the achievement system. Number 7, Evil Dave Quest. Number 8, graphical reworks. Number 9, combat pets. And number 10, Shattered World improvements. It's like nobody really cares about Shattered Worlds.
I want to know how Shattered World has ended up at number 10.
I mean, I wish it could just not be on the list, because that is a waste of development time. But yeah, Shattered Worlds is just, that should be, if anyone is going to waste time modifying Shattered World, it should be a TAP project. Bank
I know they are going to raise how much anime you get from completing a round.
Yeah,
I believe it's coming out. I think it's actually coming out this month, or maybe
that
next
minigame
month.
Needs to give way more anime on completion. So we have the bank rework here as well. They're set on doing it. That sounds like something somebody who doesn't want to do something and is probably not going to finish it would say. I'm set on doing it. 5 days later, yeah, I didn't do it. Wow, I can't speak. We will. Why can't I say those words? We know how important it is to only set a number of Jmods have the expertise to do the work needed. So basically, what they're saying is this project requires senior team work members only for the most part. Basically, if they break the bank, they could pretty much ruin the game and require a rollback if they were to release content with some sort of extreme glaring glitch into it. So I understand the caution on that one.
Okay, like weekly updates.
So they've paused the bank rework at the moment due to this bottleneck of lack of talent, it sounds like. Which again goes back to my conspiracy theory that the reason why we don't have the other half of the year's updates is because they've lost talent to competitors, and they're just not going to openly admit that. And that threw them off.
Lightseeker. Sorry.
Yeah, Lightseekers is a major one. But, many different, people leave companies all the time. We've seen plenty of leaving letters this year. It may be very well possible that they were not able to find senior-level staff that could fill those same positions. Maybe they had to hire on a lot of new people. Maybe that really threw off the development time. We can't say for sure, because that type of information is privileged. And if you want your stock price to not, be loopy, that's not the type of stuff you reveal on a live stream, or, ever, until, years later. So, we're never going to hear that answer, but I'm going to give it to you now and let you do with it what you will. Anyway, mining and smithing. So, finally, they're saying we haven't been frank about the issues we were facing. Basically saying...
they're not frank, they're Jagex.
Well, they basically just said, yeah, no, we've been basically lying by omission here. We haven't been telling you that the entire time this has been in development, we basically haven't developed anything at all beyond paper documents. That is, I'm pretty sure the case. Anyway, Dilemma 1. Changing the skills drastically will make skills very unfamiliar to returning and existing players, like EOC did. That is a non-issue. Changing a skill drastically for somebody returning to the game might actually be the returning factor. Oh, RuneScape actually did something interesting with its skills. Let's come back and try it.
I don't believe this is changing it drastically. I believe it's making the necessary changes for people to be still interested in mining and smithing.
I think the smithing skill is receiving some pretty drastic changes. Mining, on the other hand, it still, in my opinion, looks and feels mostly like mining. There's, a little bit of change as far as, the, rocks having, hit points and critical attacks and stuff like that to yield different ore levels and whatnot. That all sounded really cool. Everything that they had on the table sounded intuitive and logical. It didn't matter if I was a returning player or a new player or even an existing player. First of all, if you're an existing player and you like mining and smithing, what's wrong with you? Second of all, if you're a returning player, I would think you'd be happy to see new things to try out in the game. You left probably because there was not anything interesting. So
I think it might have been because of the folding and all that sort of stuff that was originally planned with mining and smithing, which got people confused. They're like, alright, why are we folding this shit again? And it was go back to the drawing board and come up with an easier option.
The problem with folding, and I don't think it's a problem, but the problem that it probably presented to some individuals was that it would take an absorbent amount of time to produce. But after you say that, let it be known that that's the only thing that they want to keep is the high-level processing. They want to scrap everything but the folding and the masterwork, pretty much, from what I'm able to kind of garner from the little bit of harassment that I've done to Mod Jack via Twitter. We're talking RuneScape 3 at the moment. But yeah, that being, I'm not 100% sure if scrapping the whole thing is the right solution here, but I'm willing to explore it. And we're going to read on here, and I'm probably going to turn this into the open discussion real quick, and then we'll finish up with the rest of the show. But let's see here. So, we didn't think we were changing the game dramatically, but it will change the price of coal. That was understood always. All ores were going to have the prices change. How could they not? If you didn't know that from square one, you should not be a game designer. The drops of monsters which have to be replaced by other things. If you didn't know that, you should not be a game designer. Elk prices would change. If you were unaware of that, you should not be a game designer. Existing banks, we can replace items to keep bank values roughly the same. If you didn't realize that, you shouldn't be a game designer. Very expensive in terms of time. 15 years of smithing and mining, which is embedded into a lot of content. If you didn't realize that, maybe shouldn't be a game designer. Much easier to create something new. Retrofitting easier than... I mean, making something new easier than retrofitting? Are you sure you wanted to be a game designer?
You kind of sound like that guy that always does the, you know, you're a redneck joke.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. You shouldn't be a game designer if you didn't realize all of those fucking obvious things! How do you not realize that stuff? That is literally how the game works. Like,
you know you're a redneck when you've been working on mining and smithing for 15 years.
It's like if you... That's what I don't understand, though. That's what I don't understand right there, is all of these things that we're going to change, we're always going to change. You're just listing them now and using them as excuses. They were always going to change. Of course they were going to change. You can't rip out the bottom brick and expect not to watch all the other bricks come down. You gotta put something, you gotta put something back in the slot. As you're pulling the slot out, you gotta fill it back up with something else. You can't just leave it empty. That crack, yeah. My voice is a disaster. But for real, like you can't have expected nothing to change when you're modifying one of the core gathering skills in the game and one of the core artisan skills in the game. Of course things are going to change. They have to change. It's called growing pains. And they hurt. And apparently you're a little bitch. Anyway. Even if we got over that, apparently we're a teenager now with emotions in this one. Apparently even if we got over that, there are these issues. Is this a problem causing people to leave the game? No, not doing it is causing people to leave the game, you fucking dolt. Currently it isn't, but changing it would. But changing it a lot would. Would it? I haven't played in 2 months. The fact that you're not releasing this ain't coming back now. That was the one thing that a lot of people have been looking forward to, including skillers. My idea. It bleeds Magebit. It pleads Magebit's pain. Let's see here. Where was I? Alright, sorry. My rage went up so high that I lost my ability to read. Mismatch of levels is terrible, but the most time-consuming part. So the fact that, like, level 99 Runite equips at 50 is a problem, they're admitting. But it's so time-consuming that it might take, like, 3 lime rickies before I could finish that type of update. I can't drink that many drinks. Like, that is just too much. That is too much work. Like, in what world is it too much work an excuse? I've never in the entire history of working been able to go to my boss and him to say, please, or we need to rearrange this entire area, or we need to produce this piece of software by X date. And I said, nah, that's a lot of work. Can we maybe just, like, produce some of the features and maybe steal some code from that we already have lying around from another project instead? Because, you know, I like to leave at 5 and really want to take a few extra vacations this year. All right, let me stop myself right there, because I also want to make a point that if it was an issue of not enough, like, talent in the company, overworking people is not fair, okay? But they need to say that. you can't just come out like from a building that you've been working in. Like I'm making a little bit of a hyperbolic example here, but you know they're working in the Jagex factory for 6 months, and they come out and there's Mod Osborne wearing his dad's sweater and looking all dadly and got that dad smile on his face, and he comes out just his hands up over his shoulders, and he's just like, I don't know, sorry guys, sorry. We'll try again, sorry. We have nothing. Oh, your money? Yes, no, we're gonna keep that, but everything else, oh, sorry. We got some tap projects for you, though. No, that's not how that works. Tap projects are great. I love tap projects. And by all means, you can release tap projects as, you know, if I had a show saved away for a time when I couldn't do a show or something, that's okay. Bringing out backup, bringing out the cavalry when you don't have your main army is okay, but to rest upon that and act like nothing's wrong, not okay. Not okay. Like, it is not okay to just pretend like nothing happened and try. You can move forward. We can all move forward, but you have to be cognizant of these things. And when you take an update like this that's so large and wanted pretty immensely in the skilling community, and throw up your hands and say it's because it's too hard, you're not going to do it, I'm going to go find game designers that are capable of producing a game that they don't think is too hard to create. How about that? You know, I hate to be, you know, incendiary in my words, but it feels like we're attacking each other like 5-year-olds here. It's like, oh, it's too hard. Yeah, well, oh yeah, it's too hard. Well, then I'll go find someone who doesn't think it's too hard. Like, what is this? What world do I live in? Where it's okay for you to pay for a product and then them to come back to you, pay for a product or service. If I brought my car into the mechanic, paid him $100 to fix something, and then he was like, hey, it was too hard. But that was labor, so I gotta keep the money for labor. Is that okay in any world? Like, would anyone not take that person to court? Would anyone ever use that service again? Would anyone leave them a good review? No. I love Runescape. I've been playing this game for over half my life. Literally. But this is not okay. And let's read on here. Let's see. So if we ever got over that, is this a problem causing people to leave the game? Currently, it isn't, but changing it a lot would. Would or could? First of all, would. The fact that you're even using determinative language off of something that you don't know the actual answer to, right there is proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter what we say, they're not doing this. They're not doing this content. They have that type of language right there means that this is pre-written without emotion. This was done in a boardroom. This project's already axed. So if you had any hope of seeing mining and smithing return, it ain't happening. Anyway, mismatch of levels is terrible, but the most time-consuming part. The reason players leave are 1, tutorial, 2, post-tutorial, 3, coming back as a player and not recognizing the game, and 4, certain minigames make people quit more than mining and smithing do. I mean, that's interesting data. I would agree that if anyone, the likelihood of a new player quitting the game is probably going to be somewhere between the tutorial and the post-tutorial. It probably has nothing to do with the actual tutorial itself. It's just, that's when you realize if a game is for you or not, really. Like, that you can generally figure out post-tutorial within the first couple of hours if this is a game you want to play or not. So yeah, a lot of drop-off rates in 1 to 2. Coming back as a player and not recognizing the game, I can understand a little bit there. But are you sure it's not recognizing the game? Or is it more along the lines of they came back, saw nothing new, and left again? How are you extrapolating your data? More information is required on my end. And 4, certain minigames cause people to quit. More than mining and smithing do. I mean, sure. That's an easy correlation to make. Minigames suck. We've known that for years, and you've done nothing about that either. Using one terrible aspect of the game to make another terrible aspect of the game look less terrible is not a place I want to be. That's not a place I want to be in the game. Like, it's like, oh, I got stabbed in the back. Oh, look at that guy. He got stabbed in the back twice. I guess my life's not that bad. Like, no. That is not the RuneScape that I want, where we're settling for the lesser of 2 shit piles? No, thank you. Survey showed players are split on what the rework should be. So again, question 12 says, which of these two statements do you agree with most? A skill rework should, and then it doesn't, let me just, a skill rework should protect the skill's identity and methods of training, and a skill rework should overhaul a skill and perhaps even change the way it is trained. And then there's also, I'm not interested. So 6.63% of people just are not interested in skill reworks. That's fair. And that is the key point here. More people are interested in skill reworks than are not, by an overwhelming landslide. Like 80-something% of people want skill reworks. The problem is it's split between how. Do we protect the skill's identity and methods of training it, or should we overhaul the skill and change the way it's trained? I'm getting a lot of feedback from you, DX. Can you watch your mic there, buddy? But
sorry about that. Must have accidentally rubbed it against my whiskers.
No worries. I know you're having like a balancing act going on over there.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that's what it breaks down to, though, right? Is not whether or not we need skill reworks, but how they should be done. And
that's not exactly a great response from that poll, is it? It's 47% versus 45%. That is, they really can't go forward until they know for sure what they need to do.
Well, that's the thing is yeah, like we know reworks are a thing that is wanted because two of these options are in support of reworks. One of them is not. Yes. So 90% of people want reworks, but they are like 50-50 split on how to
do it.
So that's where the discussion needs to be had. And that is where my not opinion, but the way I'm going to handle the rest of this is going to change slightly, because that is what we need to focus on. Not the failure that has occurred. Not just wallowing in our own anger. That's not going to solve anything. But it needs to be put out there. It needs to be shown. It needs to be known that we're not happy. That's been done. Now, we have data here that we can actually use. They've thrown a lot of junk data at us. Here's the first example of data that we can actually use. So if the community is so split on skill reworks, Jagex logic seems to be, oh, well, if it's so split, then we do nothing. We're just not going to do anything at all because it's too hard. Well, what's going to happen when you put this into a poll? You put this into a poll that requires 66 to 75% to pass, it's not going to pass, and we're not going to get it. That's what they're doing. That is what they're going to do with this new poll system, is they're basically just not going to have to do any updates because nothing's going to get voted through. Is that what you want? Because if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get.
This is the time where I really wish we had like somebody working at Jagex, explaining about the 94% want to rework, but we don't know how to do it. So how would you do it? I'm referring to Jagex. How would you do it? Do these guys sit in a room and brainstorm particular ideas? Maybe a team of 4 or another team of, I don't know how many teams they have to split up so they can work on it. They would have to have 2 teams come up with ideas and then put that to a poll.
I mean, that's probably the better idea, is to take smaller polls and increment up. What they're saying here, and which is obviously a point that is obvious. The obvious statement is obvious. No matter what we do, we annoy half the player base, of course. But
yes,
things need to be done anyway. Like, you can't just not produce things because half of the people get upset. If that was the case, no one would ever be president. No one would ever be a CEO. Democracy doesn't work if you're afraid to annoy half the people. Anyway, mining and smithing is bigger than an expansion. An expansion requires about 9 months. Unless we add a lot of content on top, what we have actually done is, good job, you tweaked Addy and Iron, but most players won't smith or mine it. I don't even know what they mean by that. Survey shows people want a reason to train high levels because of the benefits that it will give, which, no shit. That's the point. That's the payoff of getting to a high level. Should be rewarding. Understandable that high-level players are more likely to answer the survey. We thought crunching down the tiers, most time-consuming, least effective on the game, was #1 priority for players, but we were wrong. Jagex's proposal follows. What if we did a high-level mining and smithing update, which is actually far less time-consuming, new content, easier than reworking old content, and left the rest of the rework for later, aka never? Ideas featured include new tier 70, 80, and 90 armors, new locations, maybe a new mining guild, craftable armors, high-level useful PVM armor, overload equivalent for smithing, doesn't include going up to level 120s, addressing the top 39 levels. Not included would be reworking lower tiers, tweaking the levels. If the straw poll is not positive, we will go back to the drawing board. If positive, we will do an in-game poll of the same. The poll was positive, so we will move on to in-game. So, again, the poll pretty much came out saying that, yeah, 70% of people said yes in the straw poll.
Yeah, but only 2,500 people voted.
Yeah. So the sample size is not that amazing compared to the 49,000 sample size we had on that other poll here. I honestly, when this goes in game, I highly recommend you vote no. No, you should work on a full mining and smithing rework. You are getting ripped off. We were promised a full mining and smithing rework. This is not that. This is merely adding some content to smithing, leaving it the same boring skill that it always has been and always will be if they leave it like this. And if that's the case, I don't honestly know if there's anything left for skillers in RuneScape. I'm just going to say that right now. I'll say it again. If this remains the way it is, I don't know if there's anything left for skillers in RuneScape. Take that as you will. But if you're a skiller and you enjoy the immersion of the game and not just the AFK grind, and you want substance to your gameplay, and you want value to your levels, you'll vote no. If you vote yes on this, you're voting yes to them taking away updates that you've asked for. You're voting yes to them saying that they can cancel projects at any time and get away with it. You're saying yes, it's fine. I pay for content, but you don't have to release any. And you say, yes, it's fine. You can waste 3 years of my development time that I've been paying for to just give me a tiny update that adds high-level skill, skills to one skill. Doesn't set a precedent that all skills need to be reworked. When 80 to 90% of the player base claims reworks are one of their highest priorities in the game. And instead of a rework, when we're asked, what do we get? We get a patch, we get a bandage, we get a high-level fix. That is not a rework. We were promised reworks. 90% of us want reworks. Out of 50,000 sample size, give us what we want. Elite says, here's what happens if the half-baked idea passes. It's still too large. Vote between what we cut, useful armor, or profit. You voted profit on that's too large, so here's a tap project. I hope it's not that bad, but Elite, at this point, I don't know. I'm following it. Like, this is the most drama we've had in RuneScape for quite some time as far as the development team goes, so it is certainly interesting to follow. I'll give them that. But I really hope that they make the right decision here because, I mean, DX, do you think that this sets if we accept just a high-level rework or expansion to smithing, is that basically saying that we don't need skill reworks at all?
We definitely need skill reworks. I mean, you don't have the same routine for what 16 years. You've got to change with the times, and if they don't change with the times, they're still going to lose people. I just hope Elite's idea is not in the poll, because I would be interested to see if they do that poll as they said they would in game, and then they come up with that. I would like to see the voter count at the end of it. Because if the voter count's like 60 or 70% lower than what they had, then they did something wrong with that poll.
I don't know, man. I'm worried that they take data the way they want to. They skew the data to their own kind of I don't know. I'm nervous that they're going to twist basically our votes to fit what they want. So I don't know if that's the case, but the polling system hasn't worked very well in the past for RuneScape 3, and I'm not saying it can't work in the future. Maybe what we need is a higher threshold so stupid things don't pass, but we also might find ourselves stagnating if nothing can pass a 75% threshold or a 66% threshold. Then again, there may be fail-safe stuff that gets released no matter what, which I think would be a good way to go about that. If you have to bring back the polling, then maybe you should still have content that's guaranteed content that is completely unpolled, that's just coming no matter what. Quality of life fixes, area rework, stuff like that doesn't really require the player base to weigh in on. We just know it needs to be done, and you just do it. Like the mining and smithing rework. Oh, wait. Anyway, I wanted to use that little section as kind of an open discussion for the mining and smithing rework, because I love skilling, and without it, RuneScape would not be RuneScape.
You know what I'd like to do? Yeah. I would like to, like all the main guys on Runescape Weekly, brainstorm how to handle the mining smithing rework. I know we got Pern who came up with a beautiful document on how we could do it. Brainstorm, see if we can come up with similarities.
Well, it seems like
some things that we can all agree on.
It seems like that has been tried multiple times and just has failed. It's impossible to get more than 50% of the player base on your side. There's a large chunk of the player base that literally would be happy if there were no skills in RuneScape, and you're never going to sway them. They don't want to see development time wasted on that type of content, and for them that's totally acceptable, but it's not for the rest of us. So you have to. It's a balancing act. Yeah. And you have to please both sides, and you can never please them at the same time.
And you have to get it over 50%, because 45% or 47% is not a win.
Yeah. I mean, I totally think it's fine to to kind of upset 48% of your player base to make an update if 50+% of your player base is going to enjoy it. I mean, any major update, you're going to lose some players, and it's going to happen, and you're going to gain players because of it, because people are going to want to know what's new, and they're going to try it out. There's going to be returning players. They're going to come back and try it and maybe stick around. You never know. I think the potential to gain is far greater than lose. However, I don't have access to the same data that Jagex does. Like, I can't see market trends. I can't see industry trends. I can only give you trends that I see happening within our own community and from my just life experiences. And I've worked on projects in the past where we've had development crunch times and problems before and stuff like this, and it can suck, and it's really difficult when you have to present present something to a group of people, and what you're presenting to them secretly doesn't work beyond the things that you're showing. That is a shitty feeling. And I mean, when I saw Mod Timbo's tweet the other day, it is really when my position changed a little bit. I softened slightly, and when he came into work and tweeted and was like, "Wow, feels really great coming into work and seeing everyone shit on my personal project that I spent months of my own time on off the clock producing." And I'm like, yeah, that's a kick to the nuts. And the sad part is it's unlikely due to the project or the content of the project, and more likely due to the fact that people are angry and looking for an outlet to the fact that all the content that was promised isn't coming. It's like Timbo doesn't personally deserve that attack, but it's going to happen because he's affiliated with Jagex, Yeah. But that's when I changed my position a little bit, is it's not fair to shit on these human beings, because that's what they are. They're human beings, and they've made some mistakes, yes. You can be angry at the company, but don't be angry at the individuals. The individuals make up the company, but they are not the company as a whole. If somebody leaves the company, that can really significantly impact the company. Anyway, that aside, I'm also not going to sit here and apologize. Be an apologizer for Jagex for more than a few seconds, because I have plenty of other stuff I want to complain about. It's called a compliment sandwich, only I do an invert compliment sandwich. You have two insults in a compliment.
Compliment sandwich, that's a new one. I'll have to steal that one.
Yeah, the bread is supposed to be the compliment and the meat is supposed to be the insult, but I flip it around and just make the bread are the insults and the meat is the compliment. That way, I get my point across better. Yeah, but let's see. Where are we? We got to get back on track here. I think I've given enough time to the mining and smithing rework. I mean, we've given enough time to the mining and smithing rework for the past 2 years, let alone still.
Has it been 2 years? I thought it had been 4 or something.
I don't know if we've been talking it on the show for 4 years, though. I think we've been talking about it on the show for 2.
Yeah, probably.
It's been definitely kicking around a lot longer than we've been talking about it, though. Just when it became a RuneFest concrete object, that's when we started really talking about it. Elite says, no one blaming Timbo, though, but spending resources on comedy after having 0 for large groups of players disappointed the vast majority and isn't going down well. Point being is that was a tap project. It wasn't using company resources because it was off company time. So they're no longer company resources. They're Timbo resources. I guess at that point they're, still using company resources as far as he's draining electricity. storing hard drive space, but, you know, it's his time. And if he does it on his time, then how can we be angry at him for that? And I understand projects do occur during company time, but it's still time that you're given to do whatever you want. And if that is not something that I want to come down upon, I wish more companies gave you a day a week where if you weren't behind on your work, you could pretty much do whatever you want. And just be creative, you know, like exercise your creative side of you. That is, in my opinion, especially if you're running a creative company, incredibly important for the mental health of your individuals. It says, it's like opening a high-end clothes shop during the Great Depression. Maybe the owner is a nice person, but since the atmosphere and tone, but the sense of atmosphere and tone, I mean, I get where you're coming from. Is like, if there was such a crisis in development, why was he spending his time on this TAP project and not helping out with the quote-unquote crisis? That I can't answer. I can offer maybe a solution. I don't, and again, this is speculation, and it's probably not true, but who knows? Maybe he was. Maybe that TAP project was already done, or maybe they didn't know that this was going to happen until it was too late. Who knows? I have no idea. We have no idea.
Dillian on the YouTube chat actually has a good thought there. When RuneScape Mobile comes out, RuneScape will blow up out of control. That is a fair point too, because people that don't want to use RuneScape on the mobile are still going to rag about them not updating, you know, skills and stuff like that in the game.
I don't know how much RuneScape Mobile is going to change RuneScape. I think it will probably boost first year their subscriber growth probably by 10 to 15%, if I had to guess. As far as what remains on after that, that might be, I assume we'll see similar gains that taper over the next few years, and then we'll see a steady number eventually. But I don't know. I mean, that also is only if the RuneScape mobile launches all go smoothly. Haven't taken into the fact that, you know, this could, you know, still come belly up. We don't know, but let's hope not.
We should still mention regarding RuneScape mobile, Jagex has not sent out any emails yet regarding RuneScape mobile beta, so if you get any of it, delete it because it's not real.
Yeah, be careful of phishing attempts, of course. There has been a bunch of phishing attempts going around for that. Elite says, like, I'm totally fine with Timbo, a lot less harsh than most of the community, but as a quester this year has been a kick in the teeth, and Timbo's project feels like salt in the wound. I will agree with you there. As far as, like, the quester in me, I mean, this is my problem, is the skiller and the quester in me are basically dying. The Menaphos quests were an insult. I didn't even do them. I will do them eventually, but, like, there was no desire to do them. After I saw how basic they were. Yeah, and basically, the feedback that I got from everyone who did them were like, they are a giant waste of time, they're not fun, they border fetch questing, there's no real lore beyond the first one. There's plenty of lore, I think, in some of the later ones, I guess, but apparently, overall, like, it should have been one medium quest, is what I was told. Like, the entire quest line basically amounts to one, like, medium or large quest. So why not just release one medium or large quest and stop making it look like you released 3 quests? That kind of bothers me a little bit, yeah. But I'm over that. Like, I'm over Menaphos. I'm over everything in Menaphos. It's not a bad update, but it doesn't hold on its own. It can't be your only update for the year and still be a good update. That's all I'm saying. Like, when I say only update for the year, I'm of course speaking of large updates, you know, game-changing updates, things that expand upon the game and add, you know, 20 to 40 hours of playtime to the game, which Menaphos definitely added much more than that. So this is Dylan saying, I have played since RuneScape Classic, and I have never had more than 100 quest points. That's kind of impressive. I wasn't a quester until, like, last year, the year before. Questing got really good for a while, and then all the good people who were producing quests left RuneScape. Then here we are, I guess. Elite saying the first 6 months of 2017 flopped, and now likely the only quest being worked on is a comedy project. And we already got a comedy quest. Timbo's great, but this just saddens me internally. I mean, if we get any quest this year that has some substance to it and is enjoyable, I don't care if it's comedic. In fact, some of my favorite quests in RuneScape are lighthearted comedic ones. Like I'm fine with that. I just want it to be longer than 10 minutes. That's all. And I don't want it to feel retconned. I want it to have a good, rich storyline. That's like, what are my goals if I ever produce a game? is I want to focus on a robust skilling and quest system, because it seems like so many RPGs leave those by the wayside or their second thoughts, and RuneScape was the one game that did it exceptionally well, and here we are. So I'm almost in a position where I feel like if you want something done right, do it yourself, except I don't know how to program. So we're working on it. But we need more skills, and we need more quests, that's for sure. Let me continue on here. Where the hell even am I at this point in my life? I don't remember.
You're at Clue Scrolls now.
It's so far off from life. I don't know who I am anymore. So Clue Scrolls rework also apparently is something that is coming. 3 polls are coming up. So when I say coming, I mean like 2020. Top 10 fixes, including emotes for clues, will be less annoying. We'll poll that. Multiple clues of the same tier, but only one active, also will be polled. 1 new die will be polled next week. Improved wizards can be left-clicked in the wildy, graphically updated, and weak to all styles. New reward drop that boosts range boots from tier 40 to tier 85. Fix some of the misleading logic on hints. More clues. More clue scrolls for skillers. Cool. New tier, Master Clue Scroll. Yes! Look at existing drop rates. Clue Scroll collection log, much like the boss drop log. It won't be retroactive, though. Better ways to deal with retrieving items like hidey holes will be polled as well. So also, pretty cool. Let's see here. I'm all for Clue Scrolls. I love Clue Scrolls. They're one of my favorite pieces of content to do in the game that is kind of like, you know, they are, in my opinion, the gold standard for distractions and diversions, basically. So let's see.
Yeah, I agree, and I've also enjoyed doing the quest Clue Scroll series and watching people, you know, make fun of how I'm actually doing it. Yeah, I don't really mind, but yeah. I like the Clue Scrolls because it's a distraction and it gets me away from, you know, whatever I was doing in RuneScape at the time.
I love the opportunity that, you know, you never know what's going to come out of that chest, and it's your own work that you put into getting the chest, so it's not like you spend money on it, so you don't have to feel bad about it. Good.
I've had a lot of luck with those Clue Scrolls of late. Getting some higher priced stuff, obviously, for the fortunate components and stuff, but I've made myself a hell of a lot of money, a hell of a lot of GP with those Clue Scrolls.
Yeah, I have not, but it's hey Duncan, how you doing? So Evil, let's see, we got Invention Badge 2, of course. That is in Daily Escape Productions. We've talked about Daily Escape Productions a million times. Surprise, surprise, it'll probably get pulled. Invention Badge 2, the devices are largely done in QA. That's good. So finally we're going to get some machines, it sounds like. Machines are in dev, though. Modeling work, interface work being done because some feedback came in that they weren't intuitive. These will be the rooms in the Invention Guild that are blocked off. They will have hotspots like in construction. Finally, so they basically reverted to how it should be.
They're unblocking them.
Yeah. It only took an entire
year and a bit.
a year and a half. But yeah, I'm glad to see that they're finally bringing back in. We got the potion maker, got a power generator. Who the fuck knows what that does? Auto Elker, of course. You know,
I love the idea of an auto Elker.
Me too. This is great. I'm so again, Tanner, unfinished sawmill. So great. So they got some great machines that could be good. Invention still has the opportunity to be like the best support skill in the game. So
what about the auto siphon?
Auto siphon, yeah, that's something.
A brilliant idea.
What is that exactly? So what do you do with the auto siphon? Is that an object you hold in your inventory, or?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but you set it so it'll auto siphon your invention gear or your augmented gear at a certain level, and then it goes back to 0 straight away, and it can just continue on. Let's have a look at the picture and see if it actually helps. I don't know if it will.
Not really. But it just you have your siphons on it. You activate it like a bone crusher, and it takes care of it whatever level you want it to siphon at. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I would like that a lot, even for skilling. That would be awesome. You have the option, of course, of telling it which ones, like weapons, tools, armor, or shields. You don't have to always have it active. That's good. So a lot more devices and quality of life updates are coming, such as the auto siphon. That's
Diary, a good QO life update.
Yeah, Dev Diary maybe next week. Definitely within the next couple of weeks in regards to this invention. So I'm looking forward to that Dev Diary. Hopefully we'll get to read that next show. General fixes including the removal of inspiration, simplification of parts and components, easier to see what perks a component can give, unlock items beyond level 10, and tradable augmenters. So you'll be able to buy augmenters. Evil Dave quest, nailing that Gower quest vibe is literally all it says there. So it's in development, I guess. They didn't say it's not. Graphical rework. Sears Village has had progress, but it's at Mod AOB's secondary project. Witch House was a project given as a buffer between Menaphos and Clue Scroll rework. And there's some concept art at the moment. It's not just a graphical rework, though. It has quality of life updates to the quest that's involved, and it will be made free to play.
I hope we could, when they do the the quality of life updates to the quest, I hope we get a chance to actually replay the quest.
That would be awesome. They need, anytime they rework a quest, they really should give you the option to replay it. Combat pets also coming. 2 of the models have started very early, so no screenshots. And then screenshots. No, I'm just kidding. And then they gave you concept art of the attack pet and the defense pet that they've been working on, so those will be in game eventually. Shattered Worlds also anime rates are in QA, release soon. Moderator has done some quality of life fixes. The chest on World restores prayer summoning and HP now. Chests will tell you how much anime you've gained, increase the cap of tracker of damage dealt, new titles to the reward shop, new objectives, just makes it more varied. Mini bosses, new mutators, new rewards, and it's still not co-op. In pre-production, but it hasn't moved yet. And finally, things that are not on the list were clans. That's coming in 2018. We want to do something with clans. So many things to do with clans, though. Clan versus clan stuff at higher levels that only benefits the community. Not a huge release, but it will be released in steps, not batches. Fucking love Jagging.
Isn't steps and batches pretty much the same bloody word?
They're not steps. They're not batches. They're steps. They're not steps. They're vertical inclines. They're not vertical inclines. They're upper steps. They're not upper steps. They're vertical stoopers. Like, come on, a word's a fucking word. It's not. Go kick rocks. A bed, no steps, not batches. Go suck a lemon. Alright, quests. 2 quests in production, Evil Dave, and another to be announced at RuneFest. Mod Osborne is personally pushing for a 3rd this year. You hear that? You hear that, Elite Power? Mod Osborne's going to bat for you right there, trying to get another quest in this year for you. What he's not telling you is it's actually a quest to unlock bank bidders. Alright. So that is your TLDW for the month of August, if you could guess. I spent a lot of time on my own personal rants within that section, and it may be apparent due to the amount of time that just went on for. But it needed to be said. Like, the number one thing that needs to be taken away here from Jagex specifically, if you are listening, and I know you are, at least a couple of you, that we love you. We love RuneScape. Like, we wouldn't be here right now critiquing, criticizing, and being general assholes about the game if we didn't care about the game and we didn't want to see the best for the game. And
hey, if you're gonna critique Mage, at least do it like in some sort of poshish kind of voice.
I mean, Jagex has never been overcritical of our methods. It's more for our own audience to not get put off by the game. It's like, I understand we're going through a hard transitional phase right now, and a lot of things may seem disappointing, especially maybe if you're of a higher level player. I've had a lot of people come to me and message me on Discord and whatnot and just be like, I've lost the desire to play. I've had probably about 5 or 6 people PM me and say that and be like, I've kind of lost the desire to play, and I understand where they're coming from. Thank you, Fierce Duncan, by the way, for the subscription, the Twitch subscription. Really appreciate that. I'm gonna get... First of all, completely unrelated, but a Twitch thing. I submitted emotes to Twitch, and they rejected my emotes. So, we're trying again. Aww. Yeah, apparently there's
they
no...
didn't like the Mage price?
Well, there's no transparency. Like, there was no need for transparency, because the one that I submitted was a full square. But apparently they want transparency around it, even if there's no need for transparency, so they didn't like my square. So, I have to give them a non-square object... for that, I guess? I don't know. I'll figure it out, and I'll try again. It takes like 2 weeks to get denied, which is the fun part. But anyway,
Yeah, they rejected the mage face.
No, they actually rejected the RSW logo. I made a square little RSW logo for the regular sub. The mage face was going to be the $9.99 sub, and I don't even know what to do for the $24.99 sub yet. But I'm just sad because I wanted to have little emotes, and apparently I'm just not cool enough. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, but back, I totally derailed myself. Sorry about that. But yeah, we love RuneScape. We love Jagex. We do what we do because we want to see the game healthy. And when we see things that we think are maybe not in the best interest for the game's health, we're gonna speak our minds on it. And when I say we, I clearly mean me. But you know, if Pern or Hannah was here, I'm sure we would get similar rants. I think Hannah's a little less put off than I am. I think it's kind of why I was hoping we'd have Hannah. I kind of knew we wouldn't, but I was secretly hoping just because I was talking to her off the air, and she's like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel as strongly as you do about this," and I'm like, "Good, I need a balancing opinion," but here I am. DX is just letting me run wild. Just say whatever I want.
I'm not the boss man, you're the boss man.
Ely says, when you've uploaded this as a VOD, you should send it to the core mods. I feel like this really sums up how a lot of skillers feel, and they need to hear this in a non-angry, non-suck-up way. I mean, I would love to do that. I mean, I think the best thing to do would be maybe to clip a portion of the show, like using YouTube's like start at segment, post the start at, tag a bunch of mods in it, and then put it on either Twitter or Reddit. I think you get more attention on Reddit if it got the upvotes. If it didn't, obviously, then you wouldn't get the attention. I don't know. It's hard to say.
What we need is the RR man to take clips of you ranting, and have that as a promo.
What we need is the PR department to return to RuneScape Weekly for someone to schedule a friggin' interview with like Shawnee or somebody, so we can, harass somebody like live. Not harass, but like pitch.
That was a bad word.
Yeah,
there,
pitch the same.
Nobody should harass Mod Shorty.
I want to pitch the same argument that I just pitched to an open podcast, forum here on the internet. I'd love to pitch that same argument directly to the staff. Now, again, it is known that a few staff do listen to the show. I just don't know if it's the right staff or the staff that, when I say the right staff, I mean the staff that are capable of passing it along. Or maybe they don't even agree with my statements, which is, and if they don't, and if you don't agree with the things that I am saying, and especially if you are Jagex staff, please get in contact with me. Let's have a reasonable debate as to why the direction that we're currently going in is the right direction, because it really doesn't feel that way. Like, it's just like when an expert tells you, or like a doctor tells you that they're going to do something, and you're like, that doesn't sound right, but you're the doctor. Like, that's where I'm at, and that's where I feel like right now. I need a lot more reassurance that this game is even going to be around in 2020 right now, which 6 months ago I had no doubt. But if they're going to prove to me that this isn't going to happen again, you got to restore your customers' confidence. Anyway, a little bit of green tea for the throat. I've been having horrible throat pain. It's just been getting worse and worse. Like, you've
been having horrible propane?
Yeah, it's just, I'm just huffing so much propane lately. No, my throat pain. I've been having so much throat pain lately, like a sore throat. Okay. But
because it definitely sound like propane, man. Yeah. Where's Hank Hill when we need him?
I have throat pain. I need some throat pain accessories. Anyway, I think are we done with this document? I think we're moving along here. I'm literally covered in sweat. So, I'd like to move along.
I'm covered in frostbite because we're in a different season than you are.
Fair enough. I'll take the sweat over frostbite. All right. So let's do the patch note teasers, which is what's coming into the game this Monday. So this is by Mod Shawnee over on Reddit, and he says, "Hey, I'll post this a day early as I'll be away for a few days. Monday's update will see Crystal Skill Champas rather, come into the game. The new tier of Skill Champas can be found at the far side of the Azaftar Forest on the coast just north of the Tyrus camp. Catch them from level 97 and use them from the X in the relevant skill to enjoy better than ever benefits to your divination, fishing, mining, and woodcutting. Skill Champa updates. We've also made a bunch of improvements to the ways that Skill Champas work overall, making them more useful for your training. There is now a chance to catch multiple Skill Champas at any agility level. Skin Champas are a completely different thing. Upon attaining certain agility thresholds, the chance to catch multiple Skill Champas reaches 100%. Skill Champas now work with your inventory as well-wielded box traps can now be placed during combat. You will now receive Invention Tool XP on failing a skill action when using Skill Champas. And patch notes teasers include the following changes have been made to the Menaphos Slayer Dungeon sigils. Maximum charges has been reduced from 250 to 1,000. So changed, rather, not reduced. I don't know why I read the word reduced.
I was going to say, like, if it was reduced, why would it be going upwards, mate?
Sorry, I'm using the same logic system that Jagex uses to produce updates. Recharging a sigil now only requires 1 vital spark per charge. The drop rates on vital sparks have been improved. The Excalibur special attack will now display healing hit flat symbols on the duration of its activation. Lucky Chaotic and Barrows items are now keepsakeable copies, or now can be copied for keepsakes, rather. The time for tooltips to appear when hovering over icons on the buff bar has been increased slightly to prevent blocking areas of the game. You can now start large dungeons in Daemonheim with a party of 2.
You know what? We ought to do that, Major, next time you're... Now, next week when that update goes live, because you and I could do a large dungeoneering floor, man.
I'd kind of rather take Sarah, but I'd go, yeah. I'd do it.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, I just want someone with 200 million dungeoneering who knows what they're doing. Because I sure as hell don't know what I'm doing. The map in dungeoneering or sinkholes, when opened, will now dynamically update as you play. Dungeoneering worlds 32, 77, and 117 have been compressed into one world.
Compressed into one world?
Yeah, they straight up squeezed it into server juice. Skilling plot icons for fishing, farming, plants and plot, mining, woodcutting, prayers, altars, summoning obelisks will appear on the minimap whilst dungeoneering in Daemonheim now. Additional information has been added to the Voice of Saren tooltips of some of the clans of Prifddinas. The jellyfish guarding the seaweed patch on the sunken tutorial island has moved to the northwest corner of the seaweed, so it no longer interferes with player pathing between the seaweed and the oyster. The currency pouch favorite slots will now work again, and it is now possible to buy unstable essence in batches of 100. So there you go, those are your updates for Monday. And finally, last post of the day here, we have a Fun Fact Friday, which generally we don't do, but I liked the topic, so I grabbed it. This is combat and skilling seem to have undergone an opposite evolution. This is by July RS, creator of the RuneScape History book. Highly recommended. It's RS, I think RS-History, RS-History, or just rshistory.com. Let me find out right now. I think it's
that was a real cool read. That, if I remember it right.
Yeah, it's a good book. I have like about 2 hours of it on audiobook done so far. Interesting. So rshistory.com seems to have like completely rebranded their website, so that's weird. But we'll move along and not talk about that. And continue on with this post here. So it says, combat and skilling are the 2 most popular activities of the game. If we know that RuneScape is more than 16 years old, then it's not difficult to imagine that both combat and skilling must have undergone drastic changes. And that is the case indeed. There is a lot we could talk about when considering how these activities have changed. For today, let's restrict ourselves to a general comparison between the 2, focusing on details, which will already be a bit to read. Let's begin with combat. Considering that we have old-school RuneScape today, it's easy to make a comparison between old-school RuneScape and what we have today. I should clarify that the old-school RuneScape combat system was released in March of 2004 as part of the release of RuneScape 2. The combat system of old-school RuneScape was replaced by the system of combat abilities in November of 2012 as part of the evolution of combat, but it was introduced as Legacy Combat in July of 2014. If we compare old-school RuneScape with EOC, then immediately a few differences stand out. 1. EOC is more click-intensive. 2. EOC is more challenging in terms of mastering the system. 3. EOC involves more strategy, which ability to activate versus just waiting. If we ignore the actual combat system and focus on everything else, like monsters and weapons, etc., then there are a few things to point out as well. Today, we have access to a lot more armor and weaponry than we did in RuneScape 1 or RuneScape 2, which means that picking the right gear has become more of a challenge, especially in PvP. The high-level monsters themselves have also become more complex in terms of combat mechanics, such as Virago. In other words, also, bosses have become more challenging and generally take longer times to kill than what was needed, for example, the Calvite Queen in 2004. In short, also here do we see the combat has become more challenging and more strategic. Let's now compare the above to how skilling has evolved. If we look at the popular skilling methods of today, then there are a few things that stand out. 1. They have low click intensity. 2. There is no challenge or strategy. But it wasn't always like that. Those who were already playing Runescape 1 era, 2001 to 2004, will know that there were no X options and that skilling in general was extremely click intensive. Even fishing required clicking the water each time you caught a fish, and X options were gradually added to the game throughout RuneScape 2. Until later in RuneScape 2, many of the best and most popular skilling methods were click intensive. Here are a few examples. Fire making, lines of fires. Fishing, barbarian fishing or catching fly fish.
You remember the line? You remember the good old days of lines of fires?
Yeah, they lagged the shit out of my computer back when it was a Pentium 4.
Oh wow, Pentium! What a name! I can remember that.
Yeah,
barely.
I had a 12. It was 12 years old then. I had a 12-year-old Pentium 4 with integrated graphics. Like, I don't even know what it had for graphics. Like, I don't even know if it had integrated graphics, really. It had to, I guess. But, and that thing was running RuneScape HD in 2012. That was impressive. Anyway, it got like 5 frames a second, but it ran. Mining, iron or granite and sandstone. Prayer, no X option for offering bones until 2009. Rune crafting, running to altars. Thieving, Menaphite thugs or pyramid plunder. Woodcutting, Arctic pines and teaks. If we look at some of the most popular trading methods today, then we can see that the most of them are not click intensive at all, or not as much. For example, bonfires, ivy or crystal tree woodcutting, mining concentrated gold or sarin stones, pickpocketing elves, rocktail or waterfall fishing, runespan, etc. As with everything, there are exceptions, such as hunter, but generally speaking, skilling has become far less intensive and less challenging. So when did this happen? The moment is actually not so difficult to pinpoint. In September of 2009, Jagex released Ivy Woodcutting and the Living Rock Cavern. Until then, all of the best skilling methods had been high click intensity, but that changed in September 2009 for fishing, mining, and woodcutting. Other skills followed as well. Agility in 2014 with Elf City, firemaking in 2012 with bonfires, rune crafting in 2012 with Runespan, thieving in 2014 with Elf City, and on top of that, the release of the X options that had been introduced in 2004. The best way to make this contrast even clearer is by mentioning that we can now read random articles, talk to friends, watch videos, etc. without losing XP. I like to call this social skilling. This wasn't possible before September 2009. At least if you cared about using the best skilling methods. Just try to chat without losing XP while mining granite or making lines of fires. It's just not possible. Summary. Combat today is more challenging, more strategic, and more click-intensive. Skilling today is less challenging and less click-intensive. For both the evolution of combat and the evolution of skilling, it's not up to me to discuss if the evolution was a good or a bad thing. Just know that both combat and... It's a bad thing, by the way. Just know that both combat and skilling have evolved, and that in seemingly the opposite way. And I'm talking about skilling. Skilling has been watered down horribly over the years. Combat's doing the right thing and should keep doing its thing. It's good. Combat, good. Skilling and not good. Fix skilling. That said, what do you prefer? The old or the current combat system? Low intensity or high intensity skilling, regardless of XP rates? Let me know in Let me know in the comments. Note 1. I have left out RuneScape 1 combat because it would have forced me to explain a lot more, but in terms of intensity, RuneScape 1 combat is comparable to RuneScape 2 combat. Furthermore, in the RuneScape 1 era, most combat took place in PvP, and in high-level PvM, in the way that we know it today, didn't really exist, so a comparison with that era would not have been ideal. Note number 2, if you add Sarin spells, some skilling methods suddenly become more click-intensive. That's definitely true, but I consider these spells more of an add-on, much in the same way as skill traumas, and judging by the cost of these spells and by the popularity of the content in Elf City, I doubt that many people use these Sarin spells. So there you go. That is an interesting look at the evolution between skills and combat, and how combat seems to have gotten the frickin' golden treatment, and skills have been turned into an afterthought. Elite says, "Oh, this article I dislike. Seems to imply skillers are actively seeking AFK methods and leaves out all attempts by skillers to introduce more active content, such as voting for a skilling boss." I will agree that Jagex has watered down skills over the past X amount of years. I don't know where that came from. If that came from the players, or the skillers, or if that came from what Jagex thought was the market changing, shifting more towards idle gaming, more towards, being able to walk away from your game for periods of time because you're already playing for large periods of time. I don't know. I lean towards the latter there. I lean towards it just being a bad mistake on Jagex's part as a market prediction, and then here we are years later, and we're like, oh, that didn't work out, did it? That could be the case. That could very well not be the case. I don't know. What I do like about that article is it was honest. It was upfront. It used facts. There was no spin. It allowed you and myself. It allowed me to create my own spin. That's what I liked about, and that's what I appreciate about July. July always attempts to remain neutral and allows you to kind of create your own, formation. Form your own opinion.
I never thought about it this way, but it's totally correct, man.
Yeah.
It really shows you. The line of fires, which got turned into a bonfire, fishing, barbarian fishing. Mind you, there's something. The barbarian fishing does require a combination of skills. It requires not only, I think it was not only a strength skill, but also an agility skill. I believe it requires both or something. I can't think of it at the top of the head, but yeah, barbarian fishing requires a combination. Just like Hunter, which also requires a combination as well.
What's your point?
If you want to do barehanded catching.
What's your, what are you relating to, though? Like, okay, yeah, it requires more than one skill, yeah. Why? What does it matter?
No, I'm just pointing it out because it's not mentioned here.
Okay, yeah, that is true. There are definitely skills out there that use multiple skills in combination. We've even got the elite skill now that requires a combination of skills to even start. I love that idea. Tech trees, or the idea of unlocking things by unlocking other things first, is a concept that I love. It's very dear to my heart. I love working my way through tech trees. I love RTSs. I love turn-based strategies. TTSs, I guess. For that reason specifically, is I love working my way through a tech tree. I love city builders because I love working my way through tech trees. RuneScape, I think, could benefit from better designed tech trees in invention, especially. But I think that is a way to add longevity beyond 99 to a skill, is tech trees, stuff like that. Things that don't maybe necessarily evolve the actual skill itself, but add complexity to the skill just based off of your playtime in said skill. Like, I agreed with Jagex now that I've had the time to do my research and even learn, I guess, really from other games and other experiences, that it is totally possible to add value beyond 99 in the skill. It is totally possible, and I'm kind of over the 120 thing at this point in my life. I still kind of want to get 120s for the cosmetics, but as far as saying a skill needs to be 120 in order for it to progress past 99, I have completely shed that mindset after seeing some interesting ways that other games do that. So I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful in that arena. Let's see here. I also think that some of what July classes as becoming more AFK could just be acknowledged as quality of life. Sure, bonfires made it easier, but the lines of fires were they harder or just click intensive? They were annoying, yeah. Stuff like that, in my opinion, also is quality of life. Runespan, in my opinion, it was not quality of life. That is just a cop-out for AFK skilling. Stuff like that is not your quality of life that you're seeing when you're seeing stuff like Bonfire. Bonfire doesn't probably also intentionally add a level of AFK-ness, but there was a problem initially, in my opinion, with the way firemaking was done just altogether. That was elite. You just stumbled across the very first ever skill rework. It's been done. It's already happened. Here we were thinking Jagex was incapable of changing a skill retroactively and adding, a mechanic onto it that would completely change the way the skill operates. But look, they did it. They did it with firemaking, the most useless skill in the game. So, I say again, is it really that they can't, or are they just afraid to lose profits because it may not go the way that they want to? I think it's the latter there. I think they're making a business decision here that is maybe in the best interest of the company at the current given time, but may have long-reaching effects. So, hey, it wouldn't be the first time that they've, made the wrong decision long-term. In fact, they kind of have a track record of it, so all we can do is say, hey, look, I see the cliff ahead that you guys clearly don't see. Hey, look at me. I'm warning you. Turn around. There's a cliff ahead. If they don't listen to us, we tried. That's all we can say. We tried. Anyway, got to keep doing the podcast and keep sounding the alarm, and hopefully they'll heed the warnings. That's all we could do. You can't just give up on RuneScape. That's for damn sure. Anyway, that's all we got for this edition of RuneScape Weekly, unfortunately. It was a good episode, a heavy episode. This is a thick, dense episode. I want to thank everyone in the live audience for joining us for this episode of RuneScape Weekly. Of course, everyone else who's listening to this after the fact, thank you as well. And of course, big special thanks if you're a top Patreon supporter. Kesky, Swagatorix, Alex W, Danny H, Kevin H, Old Gunner, Hamstring, Sudwood, Godly Fury, Tyler, all you awesome people, and just all of our Patreon supporters. If you're supporting us on Patreon, thank you so much. I know the show has gotten a little bit negative in the past, few weeks, and there hasn't been a lot of content for us to cover recently because, they threw away all the updates. We've been doing our best here, and I really hope our best has been good enough, and you still consider supporting the show on patreon.com/RuneScape as we strive to bring you entertainment. And, even if the development team turns into a dumpster fire, that's still entertaining, so we'll be here. We'll be here reporting on it. And let's just let's hope for some positive change for the rest of 2017 and moving into 2018, and we'll keep going from here. And as it said at RuneFest, back to our roots. Back to our roots. Let's do it. Anyway, in the meantime, you can find us on plenty of different social media platforms, including Facebook, facebook.com/RSWeekly. You can find us there. We can find us on Twitter as well, at RSWeekly there. You want to join our Discord 24/7, plays all sorts of games. Also, you can participate in the Magebit Mega Show that now airs on Wednesdays. And you can do that by joining our Discord channel, discord.runeweek.com. Love to have you there. Chat all around the clock. Talk about RuneScape. Talk about not RuneScape. Talk about whatever you want as long as it's not politics. Anyway, you can also join us in game clan chat, kill, skill, N, chill, the letter. That's kill, skill, the letter N, chill. And we have a current ongoing clan competition for the month of August. There's a 50 million prize pot right now going on. That's a lot of money. It's split 3 ways, of course, between first, second, and third place. And currently, the skill is Herblore that is on tap. And the current rankings are Killer Bunny with 1.3 million XP. This has been going on for 4 days, by the way. 1.4 million XP from Killer Bunny. Crasp in second place with 97k. And Saya Chan in third place with 64k. So plenty of time. Competition just began. Get your potions out. Win some money if you're part of the Kill, Skill, and Chill clan. And I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this edition of RuneScape Weekly. We'll be back, of course, next week for another Magebit Mega Show on Wednesday and RuneScape Weekly on Friday. I got another project that we're working on as well, so check out our Twitter, check out our Facebook. I always put announcements there to projects, and discord.runeweek.com if you want immediate announcements to everything we're doing, including just playing games and stuff like that. So anyway, thank you for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and as always, happy escaping.